everybody, welcome back to this Mindset and Motivation Monday on the Cabral Concept. Can't wait to dive into today's show, and I want to start with an analogy. When you miss a turn, your GPS doesn't scream at you. It doesn't shame you for being lost. It simply recalculates. No matter how many wrong turns you take, it always finds another path forward. The destination doesn't disappear, the route just changes. Life works the same way. You'll take detours, make mistakes, fall behind, but that doesn't mean your dreams are gone. The path may look different than you imagined, but as long as you keep moving, you'll still arrive. It's not about the turns you miss, it's about the direction you keep choosing. That was an amazing quote that I saw, and it is called the GPS theory on life. I'm going to link it up here today at stephencabral.com/3517 and give credit where credit is due. But here's what I want to share with you, because I think that this is a really powerful analogy, is that we as humans are never going to be perfect. It's just the way that it is. It is so unlikely that when you scribble down a goal, you start to visualize it, you might even put up a vision board. You might create a mantra. You might create all sorts of different dialogue each day that you work through, and that you are really on point towards goal activation and goal achievement. But no matter what, I just want to share this with you because you probably already know it, but I just want to reinforce it. We're human. I'm human. You're human. We're going to make mistakes. And that's okay. Honestly, I believe that that is really part of the progress and part of our happiness in life, because getting to our goals is never a straight line. And I don't think that it's meant to, because we don't learn anything if it's a straight line. So I believe we're here on this earth truly to learn, to grow, and to be of service to others. So to be of service of others, truthfully, we need to learn and we need to grow first. Because how are you really of service to others and to others if you don't already fill up your cup? Well, filling up your cup is a lot of different things, but most of the time it's making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and then actually having something to share. So right now in the health-based space, I feel like I'm able to help people. We've worked with well over 250,000 people. We've run well over 200,000 functional medicine labs, largest functional medicine integrative health practice around the world. But here's the thing. I went through 10 years of suffering from 17 to 27 years old. I had to read thousands of books. I saw over 100 different practitioners, conventional medicine and natural health. I tried hundreds of different protocols. And the thing is, I would not be where I am today without all of that failure. Now, you could call it massive, a decade of failure, because that's ultimately what it was. But had I gotten well in 3 months or 6 months, I would have nothing to teach anyone. Honestly, nothing. If I got well at 17 to 18 years old, that's it. Probably would never go into the health field, would just, I don't know, have gone into whatever other field, right? That just like my undergrad taught me. That's most likely what I would have done. But instead, I had to learn and grow so much for myself that ultimately I fell in love with the process. I also said to myself, and I made a promise, said, if I ever figure this out, then I'm going to share it with the world. And that was a deal I made, right? That was just it. I'm going to figure this out, and then I'm going to share it. And so step by step, that is what I worked on. Now, again, I can tell you I spent probably, I don't even want to tell you how much I spent, but you can do the math. Well over $10,000 a year on all the different things I was trying. None of them worked for 10 years. So I spent hundreds of hours going to see practitioners. And honestly, got made to feel really terrible about myself from a lot of those practitioners that told me I wasn't doing it right, that it was all in my head, or any number of other things, because the protocols they were giving me weren't working, right? But along the way, I also had wins. I learned about functional medicine at-home lab testing. I learned about food sensitivities. I learned about high levels of heavy metals. I learned about all the gut dysfunction I had. I learned about the HPA axis in my adrenals. I learned about all these things. And so when I did heal, and even along the process, I actually had learned something from mostly my failures and mistakes and what didn't work. And then I was then able to slowly but surely start to teach people nutrition and exercise, strength and conditioning, anti-inflammatory nutrition, and then of course, integrative health and functional medicine as a doctor of naturopathy. So I share that with you here today is simply that my career path My life in general was not a straight line. And I could look at the same for relationships, for my health, for body transformation, for spirituality. I mean, like, I've gone through all sorts of ups and downs in spirituality. Like, I don't know, I don't feel connected. I don't like, I'll like just asking dozens of questions on a daily basis, right? It's all of these things. But now I can honestly say, and it's been like this for a good 10 years, I've arrived in a place where I'm truly happy, where I truly love my life. Is everything perfect all the time? No, not at all. Because you know why? Because we're human, right? Going back to that, you and I are both human. We're living through this human-based experience. But I've also found my calling in what I'm supposed to do. 1, be a good husband. 2, be a good father. 3, try to be a good sibling and son to my parents, and be of service to others in this world. My calling is simply through health. Other people have their own calling, they have their own passion, they have whatever it is that they do. Great. It doesn't even have to be a career path. It can just be what you do as part of your life. But had I turned off my GPS during my 10 years, where would I be? I would be medicated. I would be on the Cortef, the Florinef, the Benadryl, the Sudafeds, the Prilosec, all of the different medications I was given. Like all of them, right? And certainly with type 2 diabetes, I'd be on diabetic medication, I'd be on autoimmune medication, I'd be on all the medications, right? If I was even alive here today. So you can't stop. That's the thing. You can't turn off the GPS. So every time you make a wrong turn, which is simply a mistake, that's it. Or they're not mistakes, as you saw. This is the only way you're going to be able to grow. If you start to go after your goals and if you achieve that goal within weeks or maybe even a month or so, you started way too late, because you already had so much experience. You could have achieved this years ago. So that's a sign to me. And when I work with clients as well, it's like, yeah, like, good. I'm happy that you achieved this right away, whatever it is in health and body and career and spirituality and relationships. But like, it just means that you accumulated way too much learnings, like knowledge, before you even got started. Get started. Get started and just expect that obstacles and challenges are going to arise. And it's just where you meet them. Okay, this didn't work. Got it. I tried this protocol and I had some die off. I had whatever. Okay, well, what do? Ask your health coach. Right? Ask your integrative health practitioner. Oh, I stop for 5 days and then I just begin one of the 3 products and then I only start at the smallest dose. How does that work? Okay, I feel fine. After 3 days, go to 1 more capsule. How does that feel? Feels good. Okay, move to the next product. How do you feel? And you just titrate back up. There's always an answer, right? But you would have never found that answer because you're not an IHP certified health coach or whatever it might be. So it's like, it's just not your profession. That's why I always try to reach out to whoever the expert is. Whatever I can afford, whatever I can go for. If it's a book, then I just buy the book. If it's a course, I buy the course. If I can work directly with the person, I want to work directly with the person. But they have the answers. But even though that person with the answers, you have to understand, is like, even the person with the answers, they're not with you 168 hours of the week, right? They're with you at most an hour a week. And that would really be pushing it because most people aren't talking with their coach once a week, right? So they might be with you 1 hour out of the 168 times 4 weeks per month. Not a lot of time. So they can't cover what's going to be 600 plus hours a month. But what they can do is every time you encounter an obstacle or challenge and you ask that question of them, they can say, oh, you encountered that. I've seen this before. Here's how you overcome it. And then now that knowledge is your knowledge. And you don't have to make that mistake in the future. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. So it's not just about learning, it's also about growing. Growing means we're not going to make that mistake in the future. But now here's what we can do. We up level. And then what does that mean? Well, it gives us the right to make now higher level mistakes. And that might sound kind of ridiculous, but no, you've earned getting to that next level. It's just the way that it is, right? So here's the other great thing about it as well, is that everything below that higher level now seems easy. You've already mastered it. It's just like a video game. You beat level 1, you beat level 2, you beat level 3. Once you get to level 5, okay, now we've got a real challenge. How do you beat level 5? Make a lot of mistakes. Just think of the video game. But how do you overcome level 5 faster? You put in more hours, you put in more time, or you sit beside a player that has already mastered and beat level 5, right? That's it. And they walk you through the process. You still have to play. They're not going to take the remote. You're still playing. You still need to accomplish it. And then you move on. And then once you get to level 7, level 8, everything below that, including that level 5, seems easy. That is honestly what I believe life is really meant to all be about, is it never really ends. The challenges just get a little bit more challenging, but you also look at them radically different. So the challenges I have in my life right now, I mean, working in a practice where we help well over 100,000, people a year, I would say at Equal Life. So it's like, okay, well, that's a whole new challenge. We used to work with 20,000 people a year or so, 20,000 appointments a year in my clinics in Boston. Now it's 5x that, it's probably 10x that, right? And so what happens when it's 10x that? Well, these are new challenges, right? We want to help all these people, but we've never done that. Okay, so what do? We hire more customer service, we set up the specific answers, we go through trainings, we create the videos, we make the instructions a little bit better. We do all of those things, right? New challenges. But I also look at that as saying, I've been here before. Never right here, but I've been here before. And just like you. So when you up level and you continue to increase your potential in life, which I know that you're doing, all I want you to do is look back at this GPS theory on life and say, I can't lose and I can't mess up just because I've taken a few wrong turns. I've had a couple failures. I've had a couple delays. Okay, no problem. You just don't turn off the GPS. You just begin to recalculate because there's always one more path or more than one path to your destination. So if you don't change your destination, which is your goal, you just continue to recalculate the path you're going to get there. Sometimes you'll need to make a U-turn, is what it is, no big deal. Then it's easier the second time around because you've already been there before, right? Like, oh, I'm not going to make that mistake again, not going to make that mistake again. Okay, and then we get right back on track and you say, okay, what's next? That's really always going to be your phrase, okay, what's next? Oh, this is my next challenge. Good, I can handle that. Haven't figured it out before, but here's where I'm going to look. This is what I'm going to ask my coach, and this is how I'm going to overcome it, right? So if we don't change the destination, what changes? Nothing. It's just the time it takes to get to that destination. That's literally it. I always tell my team all these things as well. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Whatever goal you set for yourself, that's how you have to think about it. There's no way you're not going to get there. There's no way you're not going to accomplish it. So it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So start to tell yourself this, I'm still on the way. I'm just taking a different route. Hopefully today's Mindset and Motivation Monday show was helpful. If it was, please always do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.